Okay, folks, here we are in the Substack live video post. I really don't do this very often, so hopefully you'll bear with me. I was matting down my hair. It's probably still sticking up. But, here we're talking today about if the goal is to find the one, why isn't this taught in school? My life hack for you is to unpack yourself and become the one first. And my toolbox approach acknowledges a sense of brokenness that we all try to move on from, but instead develop emotional baggage. And relational healing is a stage in healing where you have unpacked yourself and you become the one, is kind of what I'm positing to you today. So, fairy tales told me you have to kiss a frog to find the one. I watched Disney's Sleeping Beauty become half dead and learned a kiss again helped her find it. Apparently, you can try scrubbing floors and lose a shoe like Cinderella. I once learned if you change your name that you could also award yourself with the one status as well. Although this wasn't entirely clear, and my last name starts with a Z, which I found very cool and amazingly powerful as a letter, so that definitely wasn't for me. Ever since I was a little girl, I could feel and sense things I was not supposed to. And this concept of the one really hurt me. I thought I already was that for everybody. I would learn later in my life that I was an empath as a child and I became a therapist. So obviously, I still am an empath. And I was relentless in my thinking that I could be something to everyone and anyone who wanted an understanding presence. This was even decades later, this other concept of being the one, but not ever in the Disney way. It took me a very long time to realize this was also embedded in a trauma response to several rounds of childhood sexual trauma and intrusion and manipulation. But before I shamed my belief that I was this one person for everyone, I believed. I tried to clean it up and pretend it didn't hurt. I repressed the trauma and dealt with other hard things that I thought taught me about human psychology. I became a trauma therapist. Still, it took a long time to heal, and the last part of my journey has been a phase of healing I call relational healing. I didn't know I was developing the toolbox approach when I started out over 35 years ago, trying to hold my own haunted feeling that I was wrong or bad somehow and just make myself feel different. Only 18 of those years were spent in a direct contact with a label that you would think would have me saying I figured it all out. Trauma therapist, that's what I am. I have a lot of certifications and some fancy licenses to deliver special modes of therapy to people and help them reprocess the narratives they hold about themselves and what's been happening in their lives. Still, it was only recently that I really faced having to deliver my own approach to myself and face the flaws that were there in my approach and myself, in the mask of believing I could be there for everyone and yet somehow miss myself. The approach has three phases: the narrative healing phase, in which the narrative tools are used to identify the stories you tell yourself about your life and where the holes, gaps, and repressions are. Then the reprocessing healing phase, in which the reprocessing tools help you sense the healing message you need to be in your story now and regenerate your story so you can live in it fully and not keep leading a half full life. The relational healing phase is the last phase, in which the relational healing tools help you communicate to yourself how you feel rather than avoid it, and then move into relating to others with feelings you are ready to speak about. Here, you care how you land in others and respectfully make it possible for them to land in you with some degree of temporary disharmony, because you know this is the way it goes sometimes, and you have to provide space for the harmony to return. Or you can always stop participating without blame or resentment. This last stage of healing is so hard if you hold trauma, because people themselves are usually involved in your trauma. So that relational healing can take a long time and sometimes never occur. These phases are not easy, and that is why they come with tools. You're not supposed to just know what you're doing and do better. You accept that you have wounds, you have wounded, and that these are phases to get yourself back. You accept that this is your best shot, and you let go of fixing yourself or other people. I call it entering the classroom that no one ever offered you in school or life before. When you do, this is finding the one in progress, because you are in fact looking for someone else who is doing this too. That is, you're the one. As I was conceptualizing all this and turning it into a book called You Are Not Broken, Break Free from the Fixing Yourself Mindset with the Toolbox Approach, I got a publishing contract and got afraid. The book cover design came into my inbox and the words stared back at me. I am single and I am not broken, but suddenly I wasn't sure if I was the one. My life has taken on this kind of spiritual aligned quality now, so I faced it and I asked for a message in these hard feelings of imposter syndrome. I was shocked when my Spotify app on my phone had queued up a new, to me, podcast called Finding the One with Danny Morell and Jen Landisberg. This podcast will find you if you're ready. Otherwise, you might not believe in its message and discount the couple. Essentially, they have found each other because they were already trying to be the one for themselves in their own unique journeys. They say nothing groundbreaking and everything groundbreaking. This is because suddenly, as they are saying these things about where they were each at as they were not yet a couple, you realize this is a community of people listening on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, as well as following on various Instagram accounts the couple have. Starting all to silently whisper, I knew it was possible. Again, there's no real wow factor here, and perhaps they have the money and means to make this all happen. So if you're not ready for the message, you'll discount them. Danny Morell was in very dire straits in his personal story, and Jen Landisberg suffered panic attacks and feeling awkward despite her clear beauty. If you're going to dissect them, you will definitely miss the message. The message is that they were each doing personal work, found each other and continued to do the work, challenged each other and chose themselves over the other at times, and grew each other and developed a recipe for how to keep repeating that with each other. The show just may very well be another tool they are using now as they face life with a child and want to hold on to what works between them by keeping it alive in the episodes. Whatever it is, I knew it was possible is whispered. All of us listening and watching that enjoy it are saying, like, I knew this was possible. So in honor of their effort and rekindling my belief in my book, You Are Not Broken, I'm becoming the one with my songwriting and creating and gifting them a song today. I'm going to try to contact them with this gift and hope that it honors the relational healing phase of inner work for all of us collectively. So here goes. And it first has like a narrative part to it. All the children are lined up, ready to be led to the classroom, and no one comes until a voice says, "Oh, children, there is no door to show you. No one will welcome you into the sort of classroom you need for finding the one." The children end up outside on the grass, still waiting. One stands up and says, "Let's not pretend we are learning this by reading books." Another stands, playing wise. "You must pursue the lesson like a hiker, finding the trail and following the markers." Another shouts, "So why do they tell us to find the one before we've barely begun to know ourselves?" And then the song begins. When does the lesson begin that we should aim to fall for them? And somehow that's a win. And no one ever gets hurt or left in the dirt when the chemistry ends. Ooh. Why don't they tell us to grow first and then find the mirror that helps you see clearer than your reflection did? Ooh. Why does no one say that there is no white and pure wedding day? Ooh. that it's hard work and you have to know your worth and find it in another person too. We are not glue for each other. We don't stick together. We push one another to fall apart because it's our letting go. Then we grow. Ooh, then we grow. Then we grow. We push one another to fall apart because it's our letting go. Then we grow. And that's relational healing. Let's see how this goes. Thanks for being the one.